Hey guys, it's Skye from Aman Magazine, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how Love Island USA has really dropped the ball this year. Now, people have been talking about whether or not the Love Island USA production team deserve to be blamed for the blunders that have been made this year. Now, it's no secret that this year's Love Island USA has been insane, and there's been multiple people that have been asked to leave the show due to previous posts over the years that have been racist or offensive. In particular, we had Sierra Ortega and Yulissa Escobar, who were both pretty much immediately removed after old posts that fans had found resurfaced. Now, Sierra did come out and do a accountability video, and she said that she agrees with the production's reason to remove her.
I know a lot of people have been waiting for me to speak up about the news that's come to light recently, and now that I've been back in the US for about 48 hours and I've had the chance to process, I now feel like I'm at a space where I can speak about this without being highly emotional, because I am not the victim in this situation. While I was in the villa, there were some posts that resurfaced from my past where I was very naively using an incredibly offensive and derogatory term. And before I get into the details, I want to first start by addressing not just anyone that I have hurt or deeply offended, but most importantly, the entire Asian community. I am deeply, truly, honestly so sorry. I had no idea that the word held as much pain, as much harm, and came with the history that it did, or I never would have used it. I had no ill intention when I was using it, but that's absolutely no excuse, because intent doesn't excuse ignorance. It just doesn't. And I just need you to know that I am so sorry. But this is not an apology video. This is an accountability video. I do want to hold my hands up and say that I take accountability for using the word, but I do want it to be known that I genuinely had no idea that it was a slur. I had no idea of its meaning, and it wasn't until I made the public story post in 2024 when a follower of mine reached out to correct me and let me know that what I was saying was incredibly hurtful. It was a derogatory term. It was a slur. And in that moment, I was embarrassed. I, of course, immediately deleted the post. I was apologetic, and I educated not only myself on the true meaning and the history of the word, but also anyone around me who was accidentally holding space for this slur. When this person did message me, which I'm so grateful that she did, I had a good conversation with her about it. I made the correction immediately. The word was immediately removed from my vocabulary. And I think right now there are tons of things floating around, different screenshots with different timestamps, and fueling this narrative that I sort of doubled down once people tried to correct me and was like, oh, like, I don't know, I'm still gonna use it. But that was not the case. Like, the truth is that in that moment, the lesson was learned, the word was removed, and it was a true learning moment for me. And I think since that moment, I've done so much growing as an individual, and I've tried my best to educate others who might be accidentally holding space for these types of words that could be offensive in their vocabulary. I completely agree with the network's decision to remove me from the villa. I think that this is something that deserved punishment, and the punishment has absolutely been received for sure. I think the backlash has obviously been very hard to deal with, but I understand that people are kind of confused on why I would have even said it, or why I would have been doubling down and continuing to use it. So I understand where the hate is coming from. And, you know, I can do my best to drown out the noise and pay attention to the truth. But what's been extremely, extremely difficult is the way people are approaching my family and my loved ones. You know, they have had ICE called on them. My family doesn't feel safe in their own home. I'm receiving death threats. Like, there's no need to fight hate with hate. I don't think that that's justice. And if you want to know that you're heard and that I'm sorry and that I will move differently, I promise you that's what will happen. I know that no apology could ever be enough for the harm that I've caused and the offense that's taken place. I know that moving forward, my actions and how I decide to live my life from here on out is gonna speak louder than any apology ever could. But I do need it to be known that I am sorry and I did mean no harm, and hopefully there are people out there that can use my mistake as a learning moment, and to just be better, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take today and tomorrow, and I'm gonna take strides to be better. And all I can ask for is, even if you won't give me forgiveness, if you can just allow me to grow with grace. And hopefully, instead of sitting here and trying to convince you that I am this amazing person who spreads light in the world and celebrates cultures and dynamics and backgrounds, then one day you can see that from me. I'm deeply sorry again, and I thank anyone who's listening.
However, a lot of fans of the show have said, even if you're not in the show for a long time, it gives you a platform, it gives you potential brand deals, and it gives you opportunity where you shouldn't have been given it. So people were arguing whether or not the production team dropped the ball. Now, Joy Tenenberg, who is a casting director, has spoken about what has happened, and from her experience, she speaks about what may have happened in this case. She says that there's normally, like, in her words, a 15,000 steps long process of going on Love Island, and she says that normally they rely on the candidate to bring something up that might later affect them, and then it's down to them to talk to the production team and see if they want to go ahead with the applicant. She also says that if there's like a racist post, for example, that has resurfaced, then that would be on the casting department to find. However, anything from 15 years ago, 10 years ago, that would be for legal or higher up to find. So there's also things that happen. For example, she spoke about when people have said things on Big Brother, for example, and they've used language that isn't appropriate and offensive, and they're immediately removed. That sort of thing can't always be helped. People say things and it's not on them. But in this case, has the ball been dropped? Now, Joy Tenenberg has also spoke about how in Hollywood at the moment, a lot of people have lost their jobs since the pandemic. So it might just be a state of the Love Island application and process being rushed. But obviously with it being rushed comes this situation. Now, Zach, who exited Love Island USA, and was actually previously on the Big Brother here in the UK, he spoke about what happened on a live recently about when Sierra left. And he said, when Sierra left, they gathered us all together and they said, unfortunately, Sierra has broken some of the policies of our guidelines, she'll no longer be here in the villa, and that's all the information we can give you guys. He said that all the islanders didn't really know what was going on, and they were only allowed to talk to the producers if they wanted someone to talk to. Now, Sierra was coupled up with Nick, and Zach was asked what did Nick think of this situation. And he said that Nick was really upset, but it was hard to be too upset because he didn't know what she had done, which I think is a really good point. He also went on to say, at the end of the day, as much as you want to feel sorry for somebody, if you're removed for the show for saying something offensive, you can't really feel sorry for them until you know what it is or why. So since the controversy has happened, people have really taken a stand, and it's a massive question raised. Next year's Love Island or shows similar, will there be better vetting processes in place? Now, according to the show Insider, they said that starting next season, we are going to get some people working on looking way more into the social media presence and the articles, pictures and public things that potential contestants did before trying to get onto the show. We're going to hire more people to dig into people's past and things they did in public and really brush out their social media and old posts to see if anything controversial came out of there. As always, guys, let me know what you think. Were you affected by this year's season? Do you think things will change? Comment down below. You can also find us on Instagram at Aman_mag and on Twitter at Aman Magazine 1.